Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, it's another day and we have some more big news from DJI. They released a huge firmware update today for the Mavic 3 series. That includes the original Mavic 3, the Mavic 3 Classic, and this guy, the Mavic 3 Pro. Some pretty significant stuff. So I'm not going to be able to show you all of it, but I will be able to show you, I'm going to show you the ones that probably mean the most to me. And again, I haven't turned this, I've done the updates to the drone, I haven't turned it on since I did the updates. So you're going to see me stumble through this. You know, I haven't had it messed around with it a whole bunch. So we're going to stumble through it a little bit, but we'll get it done. I'm just real quickly, I'm going to tell you what we've got here. My Mavic 3 Pro firmware upgraded to 01.01.0300. It's going to be different if you've got a Classic or if you've got a Mavic, the original Mavic. I talked to Ron Brown about that earlier today. I'm using the RC Pro, so that is going to be firmware update number 03.02.0500, and the Fly app updated as well. I went ahead and updated that on my iPhone. Of course, I'm not using it in this case, but just wanted you to know that you've got a Fly app update. And if you've got the RCN1 controller or the DJI RC or the DJI RC2, there will, well, I don't know if the RC2 works. Anyway, there's updates. So you'll want to update if you're using those controllers. So what did we get? We got an upgrade to on the 7x zoom camera, and I would assume this applies to the original Mavic and the Mavic 3 Pro. You got 10-bit color D-Log M and HLG video. For me, I don't do a lot of color grading or editing, so that's not such a big deal to me. If you're a professional, I'm sure it is. But something that is important to me is on the 3X camera, that 3x telephoto camera. I got MasterShots now. I got QuickShots available. I use those automated shots a lot, and you also got spherical pictures. Takes 100 and some pictures, I guess. Then the other big thing that a lot of people are going to be talking about, although, well, we'll talk about it more when we show it, but vision assist. In other words, you'll be able to set it up where you can see through these cameras and see all sides of the drone for obstacle avoidance, right? So you can move right next to something or back up to something and see how close you are to it. But the one that I think is really going to be cool is AR return to home. In other words, what it does is much like the Avata, it shows you where your home point is on your screen, on your FPV screen, but also when you're returned to home, it shows you the path that the drone is going to take to get back to you. I can see how that would be real handy if you're in a situation where you have a lot of obstacles. And then the other one that I think is pretty cool is AR Shadow. And that is, you know, Skydio's had this forever. It's as the drone comes out down, you see a shadow depiction of the drone on where it's going to land on the ground. And I forgot to mention on the attitude indicator, I call it the radar. It's the attitude indicator. It looks like an old-fashioned radar. It's going to also have obstacle avoidance lines on there, so it'll tell you if the drone is next to something or in front of, you know, something's behind it, etc. And then it also has a landing protection switch. I can see that's probably not something I'll use. We may or may not look at that in this video, but what it does, instead of the drone pausing as it comes down, it will just immediately land. Now, if you're landing on a boat or you're hand catching, that's probably something that you might use. I watched 51 Drones, Russ's video, and he said be careful because the drone actually comes down pretty hard. So you don't want to be smacking into the concrete or something with it. So just be careful with that one. And then finally they got the frame guide. If we have time, we'll look at that. And the frame guide basically shadows your FPV screen to show you different aspect ratios. Now, I can understand that. Again, that's a very professional feature. If you are shooting in a particular aspect ratio for a TV commercial or a movie or whatever, that frame guide, I can see where it's going to be handy. You're still going to have the 16:9 video, but it shows you how to frame it up in whatever that aspect ratio that you want. The one that I might use is the 9:16. In other words, then I can frame it up for vertical video. Anyway, so that is, I think, just about it. So let's quit messing around. Let's get this drone in the air, and let's see if we can look at some of these features. Okay, I've got the drone fired up, and I connected it, hotspotted it to my phone, and let's click on this little, it says firmware update. We just did the update, so aircraft firmware update to the latest version. Aircraft firmware update. So, okay, I'm going to click that update and see what happens here. And it says it's installing. I got to be honest with you, I'm not sure what's going on there, but let's see what it says. I did the firmware installation at home previously, so I don't know if maybe it has something to do with making the controller perhaps agree with the drone, but let's go ahead and let it do that. And I see lights blinking on the drone, so we'll see what's going on here, and it is making progress. It's up to 80%. Okay, so it's done. It took a minute or so, and it's telling me the firmware update is successful. So yeah, I suspect that had something to do with making the controller and the drone agree on what firmware they're using. So we're going to go into Go Fly here, and I can tell you that earlier I had already gone through the safety menu. We're down to 89% battery. I don't know, I'm going to look at that safety menu again just for the fun of it here. And I have it on brake. I want to do that for the purposes of this demonstration. And return to home altitude, etc. is right where I left it. So we're good to go there. And again, I looked at that earlier. Okay, let's go ahead and switch into video mode. And for the purposes of this one, I'm going to just shoot in 4K 30. Let's move it down to 30 frames per second. And let's go ahead and start recording. And we're on that 1x camera. So let's do an automated takeoff on the app. And there's that drone. So let's go up to the 7 meters high before we move off that DJI asks us to do. We're a little over 7 meters there. But anyway, then let's bring it back down and get a look at the camera here. And bringing it in here, and you can see where I'm at. And you know, brake, it's only going to let me get so close. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of stopping there. Okay, I'm going to back it back up, and then I'm clicking on the map down in the bottom left, and I brought up the full map, and of course I can go to the attitude indicator. Let's show you that first. No, I got that one wrong. There's our attitude indicator in the bottom left there, and I think I can make that a little bit bigger. I guess I can't. That is the size of the attitude indicator. Let me touch on it. Yeah, I just wanted to see if I could make it now smaller. Yeah, that's as big as it gets. So what I'm going to show you here is I want to show you it's telling us where it's seeing obstacles. If you look next to the attitude indicator there, see those lines on there, and I was hoping that would be a little bit bigger. Let's go ahead and let's just turn it here, and I'm going to point it towards this tree and go towards the tree there, and it should show us, yeah, you can see that line moving up there. It's showing us where objects are at. So I'm going to go ahead and let's switch it into bypass. And let's fly it around here, and you should see on that attitude indicator, As I move forward, you'll see it as I steer into these obstacles. You'll see it show them on there, and boy, yeah, this is really a good example. It's showing, and I'm just holding the stick forward and letting the drone fly around these objects using bypass, and that is fascinating. So we see that usual, they call it radar on the main FPV screen, but now you have it on the attitude indicator as well. Cool feature, I like that. Just shows you where all of your obstacles are at. That is really cool. And there I am, and again, it showed me as the home point there too, which is another feature that we'll talk about here in a minute. So, I just flew it right over the top of me there. That was pretty cool. So then, let's see. I need to figure out now how to get into the camera mode here. So I am going to go back into. See if I can. There it is. I clicked in the bottom corner there, and it got me into camera mode. So let's make that bigger. I'm touching on it. Maybe. There we go. No, one more time. There. Okay, so I made it full screen. So as you can see, I'm looking at the main front camera now, and it's just in black and white. But let's get the drone close to something here, or in between some objects. So I'm going to move it right up to that tree. And now let's look off on the left side. So I'm going to click that left arrow. And that's what the drone is seeing to the left. And you can see the props there, so you can see exactly how close. And there I switched it to the right. And then let's look behind it. I can click the back arrow, and you can see my car back there. And in fact, I'm going to back the drone up to where I'm at, so you should be able to see me. Yeah, there I am right there. And let's and as I pull back on the screen, it's still in bypass. Yeah, it's in bypass mode. So let's go back to full screen and put that back down in the corner. And there's a way that you can lock this too. I think if I double tap, I'm trying to double tap that down arrow. Well, let's click the side arrow then. Yeah, there I got it. And it's telling us that there's something there, I think, by that yellow. So let's see, I think I can lock it on that camera. Or maybe you hold it to lock it. Well, I'll have to figure that out. I saw Russ do it on his video. Let's make this full screen again. And let's see if, what I'm trying to do is lock it onto that camera. There I did. I just touched it, and you see now it's locked onto that camera. So I can touch the other ones in it. Oh, it did change. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what that lock is exactly for then. But anyway, you can see how that works. So, so let's move on from there. Let's go back to the attitude indicator. I think I touched that again. There we go. And we're at the attitude indicator. So I think you just cycle through those by touching on that corner. So let's move the drone back around here. This is pretty cool stuff, folks. I like especially that radar on the attitude indicator where you can see the spots of the obstacles. So, next in line here that I'm interested in is that I can use the 3x camera, and we're just going to do a little Dronie here. Let's back this guy up. And you can see there the home point. You can see it's marking the home point, which is really cool. I like that feature. That's an easy way just to look at your screen and fly the drone back to you. So let's see, let's grab a little more altitude. Let's get down here, and I'm going to go into the 3x camera, because now we have MasterShots and QuickShots and Sphere mode. And I'm not going to show you the Sphere mode because we probably just don't have time for this thing to take 150 pictures. But let me see if I can set. I'm on the 3x camera. Let's start recording again. Almost forgot to do that. Let me see if I can set a point of interest. And I did, so it's showing us in spotlight mode. But I am going to go, oh, hold it, I messed up. Let's stop recording. And I need to go into, well, let's do a MasterShots first. How about that? So click on MasterShots. Let's get rid of that. But I wanted to do that in the 3x camera, and I see it reverted back to 2x. So how do I do that? Yeah, let's go to 3x here then. Okay, there we go. That's what that did it. So so then I'm going to click on that, and it's giving us a flight time, and I'm going to go ahead and hit start here.
3,
and it's going to count down, and it's going to go through its whole master shots. And you know, obviously the drone is quite a ways away from this, and it's doing its master shot. And I'm here in an aircraft, but he is way to the south of me. I always tell people all the time, you know, one of the best tools that you have to avoid manned aircraft, and of course this drone has ADS-B on it, but you don't want to depend on all the technology, but your ears, you can hear where an aircraft is, how far away it is. It's one of your best tools, in my humble opinion. So we're just watching the drone go through all of this, and it's shooting us in 4K 60, I see. So I'll show you and I can hear the drone. I'm looking at the drone, it's right above me. That's pretty cool, watching it do its thing. And you know, and I see it's tilting the camera a little bit there, so I'm anxious to see how that comes out. But anyway, so it's really moving. I'm watching it, the drone. It's really moving to do that orbit, and it's way away from the fountain. Even though we're right up to the fountain, the drone is way away from it. So that's pretty darn cool. So we're about 60% through. We got 59% battery, so we got more than enough to show you some of these other features. We'll do, when it's done with this master shot, we'll probably just try one of the quick shot modes, probably a Helix. Helix is always a favorite of mine, so we'll try a Helix with the 3x camera and see how it does. We are about 83% through, so I'm just thinking out loud here. When I show you this in the edit, I will have the video from the drone in one corner and the screen recording in another. And yeah, then it's picking up and moving around. It says it's doing a rocket, but I don't think that's a rocket. It's kind of doing kind of an orbit. Straight and descend. Okay. So it's looking off towards the Boise front. Camera straight and circle, which I thought that was seemed like that might have been the one we were doing earlier. And again, the drone is right up in front of me here, so I'm staring at the drone, but it's interesting to watch the moves that it's making. There it is. It's back on the, and it's done. So it moved, and it's given me a little preview down below of the kind of video it'll put together. And you know, I want you to understand, you can do that in the app. So in fact, I probably will, if I remember to do that, I'll throw one of those in here so you can see what those are. Kind of little pre-done things that DJI does for us. Okay, so we're going to click back on that little star, the little clacker with the star at the top there. That's the master shots. Let's click on the little film strip, which is the quick shots, and I'm going to move to something different here. Let's pick up that camera. I want to do a Helix around. Let's do it around the sculpture here. So I'm going to move forward here. And what's funny is the drone is right above me, but it looks like we're close to the sculpture here. So I'm going to point the thing down, and look at it, it's even giving me a little plus there. It thinks it recognizes something there. So let's see if it'll do that. Nah, I'm going to draw the square there, and I'm going to click it. It's on Dronie right now. I want to do a Helix. I'm clicking on that corkscrew, 30-meter max radius. We're going to click start. And the drone is going to rise in altitude orbit and move away from the sculpture. So essentially, kind of do a corkscrew. So this should look pretty good. And then when we're done with that, I'm going to see if I can find those frame guides. I'm going to have to dig around in the menu to find them because I don't know exactly where they are, but I'll see if I can find them. And yeah, I probably put that point of interest at the base of the sculpture. Now it's far enough away that we're seeing the whole sculpture. But you know, things like this Helix, I know there's guys that are good enough, better pilots than me, that can probably do those manually. I can tell you it would be a struggle because you're trying to orbit, you're trying to raise an altitude, and you're trying to move away in distance all at the same time. So anyway, takes some pretty good coordination, that's what I'm telling you. It's almost done here. Anyway, so just wanted to show you that you can do that in the 3x camera. And it's returning to its starting point. I'm going to go back to the 1x camera. I clicked on 1x, so that kind of gives you an idea of how far away we were. Which that's just going to be handy as heck to have that on the 3x camera. So I am going to go back into video here. Let's go ahead and start video. And let's fly this guy out a ways, picking up that camera. And heck, let's just look down here kind of at the main part of the park. Drop that camera down a little bit, and let's see if I can find where that is that you frame up. I'm going to look in the camera menu here. Grid lines, frame guide. Okay, so we're going to turn frame guide. Here's where we can pick. So there's widescreen. I'm not going to go through them all, but this is interesting. There's all for different kinds of things. So let's say, you know, we're 16:9 already. So let's say you wanted to do a 1x1 square. Click on that. Let's get out of there. Let's go look, and you can see how it shadows the side of the screen there, and it shows that that particular frame point. So let's go back in there again. Let's click down on that, and the one that I think most people will use is 9x16 vertical, because that's what you often use for vertical video, for any of your social media, Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, etc. And that shows you how to frame it up in that particular format. Okay, so you know what, we showed you how to do that. Let's get out of there. We're going to go off because we want just a regular look here. So that was pretty easy to find that. So what I'm going to do now is I want to mess around with return to home. Let's put this guy in a spot where it's going to have to give us a kind of an interesting path to return to home. So I'm going to go over the pond here, and I'm going to drop down in, this is probably good enough. I'm going to drop down in elevation. I'm going to get pretty low here. Pick that camera up just a little bit. And I don't know if there's a setting that I have to do. I wonder if there is a setting. But I'm just going to go ahead. Let's just try and hit return to home and see if we see that that dynamic or the AR return to home, they call it. So yeah, there it gave it to us, and look at it. It's given us the path. So look at that. It's showing in that green line. It's going to just do a big arc. Is that cool or what? And as it gives us that arrow as it's coming home, and you can see the H down there in the home point, is that cool or what? So there's nothing special you have to do to do that. And this is me dropping the camera down here so you can see where we're at, and you can see that home point, and you can see the direction the drone is going to travel. So, yeah, and you can see it's got the home point off in the grass here. And will it show? Yeah, so it's showing the shadowing. So there's the AR shadowing. So I'm going to cancel our return to home. Trying to cancel return to home. There we go. I got it canceled. And let's bring it in over. Let me drop that camera down, and I want to bring it in over the landing pad. Yeah, so it shows it anyway. It knows that we're low enough that it's showing that shadow. So yeah, that's cool. So let me see if I can find the landing pad here. There we go. I'm going to go into cine mode and move over. And look at that, I can put that shadow right over the top of where I want to land. Look at this, I can put it right over the zero or the H. See if I can get it to hold that spot. And you guys will see this on the camera. I'm trying to go just a little bit further forward. Yeah, it's not what, yeah, it's kind of hard to get it exact. Okay, that's as close as we're going to get. I'm going to go straight down on that left stick, and let's see if we can land right on that landing pad. Picks up the camera, and boom, we're right on the H. You saw that on the Action 2 camera. Give me just a second to get everything shut down here, and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, the day after Labor Day, the update for the Mavic 3, Mavic 3 Classic, and the Mavic 3 Pro, the three-eyed monster that I've got right here. Man, I'm saying it's a home run. You know, when the Air 3 came out and I started messing around with the Air 3, I was almost getting to the point where I was saying, you know, why do I have the Mavic 3 Pro then? The Air 3 can do so much. Well, DJI just showed us why. These features are, I think, welcome and a game changer. Particularly, I really like that return to home feature. It just makes it more of a pro drone, and that vision assist. You know, particularly if you're a filmmaker and you're trying to get a certain shot, and you've got obstacle avoidance off because you don't want the drone breaking, you don't want it doing that, you want to be able to place the drone in an exact position, you're going to be able to use those cameras to snuggle up really close to something and get the exact shot that you want. Now, something that I'll never use, but the 10-bit color in D-Log M and HLG video on the 7x camera, that's going to help a lot of filmmakers. So when they use all three of these cameras, they have basically, they're working with the same 10-bit color, etc. And the AR shadow, I think, is cooler than heck. I loved it when Skydio did it. It tells you exactly where the drone's going to land, and you saw what I did there. I just thought that was really cool. Oh, what we didn't look at, and I didn't see it, was the landing protection switch. That's probably not something that I'll use, but if I see that, I'll show that on a later video. The frame guide, that's another thing that if you are a professional shooter, I can see how that would be handy. You know exactly then how you're going to frame up your shot. I'll probably use the 9x16 from time to time, you know, so that when you're doing social media, etc., you can see what that 9x16 shot is going to look like. What am I forgetting here? Oh yeah, for me a big deal is the being able to do the automated shots, MasterShots, and QuickShots on the 3x tele camera. You know, those MasterShots to me are just genius. That drone is going to make moves that, you know, that are complicated moves that if you can automate them, why not? So, hey, anyway, I guess that's about it. Yeah, really, these are the kind of updates that are really fun and are going to take a while to get your arms around. You know, you're going to have to use them for a while. That return to home, showing the path, that was so cool when I had the drone down low and it showed the drone making the arcing path to get back to us. I just think that's really cool. So anyway, I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out, and if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this video, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. The DJI Mavic 3 Pro, the best drone that I've ever owned.